Hello friends, I am back with another bake stand video today. So I thought I would kind of show you my bake day and kind of how my bake stand went this weekend. But then also, while I'm showing you, just tell you step by step how to start a bake stand. Like, what are the steps? What do you need to do? So I thought it'd be more interesting to watch the baking and the process rather than just watch me talk. So I'm going to do a voiceover on this video, and we'll kind of talk about the steps to starting one in case you are interested or just curious. The first thing that I would do, the first step, if you are even considering starting a bake stand, is I would figure out the cottage food laws in your state. Sometimes there are different laws and rules in your county or your town, or if you're part of an HOA, that type of thing. They all have different rules, regulations. There's some places you can't have a farm stand at all. I'm lucky and I live pretty much in the middle of nowhere in this tiny little town, so there aren't really a lot of regulations for my county and my little town, but my state does have a lot of things that you have to follow. Mainly here, you're not allowed to sell anything that has to be kept hot or cold. It all has to be shelf stable. You can't put certain things in your food. We can't make, like, for example, jalapeno cheddar sourdough is so popular. Technically, we are not supposed to sell it here. There's all kinds of like little nitpicky things, and each state is going to be different. My state is very specific on what you have to put on your labels. They have things that even have to be in specific font sizes. So you can do your research and figure that out. And then I've also found on Facebook, I am part of a group for my state, cottage bakers in my state, and that has been a wealth of information. So go do some research, because you might not even be allowed to open one where you are, and you would hate to do all this work and set up and put money into it and then find out, oh, I can't even do that here, or be open for a couple weeks and then get shut down, because I've seen that happen too. So just know what you're getting into, know what the regulations are before you get into it. And then once that kind of boring part is over with, then you can start the fun stuff. So the first thing you probably want to do is figure out what kind of structure are you going to use for your farm stand. I have seen things as simple as like a little table with a pop-up tent over it. And I've seen things as elaborate as like an actual walk-in, almost like a little store. What I did a lot of research, and we just decided to buy some plans on Etsy. You can find lots of different farm stand plans on Etsy or other websites. And then my husband just followed the plans to build it, and then we kind of could paint it and decorate it how we wanted. So that worked out well for us. But I've also seen people just go and get like an old TV console or a wardrobe or dresser or something like that and repurpose it into a farm stand. If you look on Pinterest or Facebook or TikTok, you can find so many cute ideas. I love just scrolling through and looking at everybody's different ideas and how everybody decorates and sets up their farm stand. It's so much fun. To me, that's like one of the most fun parts. Another thing that I thought was really fun was testing recipes. So I think it's important to have a few staples that you offer every single week, things that you're really, really good at that people kind of know you for. Like for me, my muffins seem to be the thing that has been selling the most consistently and that people come back for. I like making them, unlike cinnamon rolls. I talked about that in my last video. I hate making cinnamon rolls, but so that has kind of been my thing. So for example, every week I make my chocolate chip muffins, my blueberry muffins, and then chocolate chip cookies, and those are the same every week. But then I also think it's important to add in new things and kind of cycle through things to keep it new and interesting. And you can post, like I made these cookies and cream cookies with Oreos like baked into them. And then I could post a picture on social media, and it was a new cookie flavor, and it kind of made people want to come and try it. So I think it's good to balance some staples with some new recipes. So the recipe testing phase is really fun. So you can kind of pick a few things that you want to be your staples, and then some things that you want to cycle through. And of course you can change it at any time, but it's good to know what you're doing, at least starting out. Then another one of the big steps and the big pieces of the puzzle is figuring out your packaging and your labeling. If you go on TikTok, there are so many different like farm stand owners who share a lot of the things that they use for packaging. I will link my Amazon storefront below, and I have all of my packaging that I regularly use listed there if you're interested. But you kind of have to figure out, that's why you got to figure out the menu, because then you have to figure out, okay, what am I going to package this in? There's all different kinds of sizes of bags. If you're going to have muffins, you can use those cute little muffin liners. So kind of get that figured out and buy all of your packaging things. And then another big thing that kind of goes along with the packaging is your labeling. This is going to take a lot of time each week. So every state has different requirements on what you have to put on your labels. My state is pretty strict about what has to be on my labels. So every time I try a new recipe, I have to put all the ingredients, all the sub-ingredients, all the common allergens, all kinds of different things. So I spend quite a lot of time each week, especially if I'm putting out new items, making the labels. I have a template, which I designed myself in Canva. There's a lot of different ways you can do it. I used a TikTok tutorial to figure out how to do mine. And spend a lot of time finding the fonts that I want to use and the layout and everything, but I love it. I love doing stuff like that, so that was fun for me. But that is a big piece of it that takes a long time to figure out. Then once you have a template, you'll still have to type in, all the information. If you're putting anything else, anything new out, once I have it made, I can obviously use it, the next time or whatever. But the packaging and the labeling, takes a big chunk of time. You think you're just going to be baking, but that takes a long time too. Along with the labeling, you have to figure out, how am I going to print my labels? And I will tell you, I got a Cricut for Christmas. I love it. And I thought I was going to try to use it to print my labels. So that's what I did the first week. And it took, I think, 4 or 5 hours. And my mom had to help me. It was like a whole thing. It was so complicated. I love my Cricut, but not for this. So I decided to go ahead and invest in a thermal printer. I have I think it's pronounced Munbin. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but I'll link it below if you are interested, but I highly, highly recommend it. I think it was about $80, so it was kind of an investment. And then you have to buy like the labels that go along with it. But that's the best thing I've purchased for my business so far, because once you have that, it is so easy. I just download my labels from Canva to my camera roll, and then I can just go to my printer's app, click on whatever I want to print, put in however many, and click print. And it could print hundreds in like a few minutes. I don't need that many, but if I did, it would be very quick and efficient. It takes, that first week when I used my Cricut, it took hours and hours. It takes maybe 10 to 15 minutes now, usually on the lower end of that. So highly, highly recommend that if you're going to have a lot of labels that you're going to be printing. I love it. So yeah, that's pretty much everything with the packaging and the labels. So then once we've got to this point, we are getting some pretty solid plans in place. We're probably getting pretty close to opening date. So the next important thing that you need to do is you need to get the word out there, and you need to have a brand. So a name that's going to be memorable, a logo. And then once you have those things, you need to get social media of some kind. I have a Facebook page and a TikTok currently, and I get most of my people from Facebook. So I made my Facebook page and I post in it. I take pictures. I try to make them look really nice. And then I will share it on my page, on my personal page, I'll share it. And then I'll go to lots of local Facebook groups, and usually just like once a week I'll share, because I don't want to spam those groups. But I've gotten a lot of people that way. I also have the Nextdoor app, and you can post on there and kind of advertise. So those have been really helpful. I will say most of my customers and repeat customers are people that I know in real life that I'm either friends with or family members. But I feel like every week I do have at least a couple people that are either just dropping in or found me on Facebook or something like that. So It's really important to get the word out, especially if you're like me and you live in the country and don't have tons and tons of traffic. I think that is huge. So maybe like a week or so before you open, just start getting the word out there. I've found that reels get a lot more traction than like pictures or just a post like that. So reels are really big too to get more people looking at you. So yeah, you need to advertise and get the word out there. And then by this point, it's almost time to open. You've done almost everything you need to do. So you need to figure out a schedule. Are you only going to be open on the weekends? That's what I do. Are you going to be open every day? Maybe a couple times a week? You need to know that going into it. So when you advertise, you can tell everybody when you're going to be open. And I think it's really important too to have a consistent schedule so people can know when to count on you being open. Have a certain day or certain days every week that you're open, and the same hours every time, so then people know. I know I open on Saturdays at 9, and everybody knows that. And I don't always have people like that first hour, but I often do, and it's often like my customers that come back every week because I think they want to get their regular things before they get sold out. Not that I'm huge and sell out very often. I really haven't sold out of everything yet. I've come really close a couple times, but you still have those few loyal people who will count on those hours, and they'll be there close to when you open. So yeah, I'm kind of getting off on a tangent, but yes, regular hours, regular days, that's really important. And then once you've figured all of that out, it is time to open, and you want to make your stand look really cute and nice and professional and have something eye-popping that's gonna draw people in. I need to work on this personally because I feel like there are just so many farm stands popping up everywhere. If yours stands out, it's gonna be helpful. And then once you have everything set up, you can have your opening day. So you'll need to figure out your schedule for bake day and when you're going to get all of your packaging and labeling done and when you're going to pack everything up. There's a lot of time that goes into it. And I posted a video a week or so ago with just kind of my bake day in the life, kind of a schedule thing if you want to check that out. So I won't go into a ton of detail with that now, but yeah, there's a lot of planning that goes into it, and it takes a lot of time. And then real quick, since I have been showing, while I've been talking, I've been showing you my baking weekend or bake day last weekend. I will put in a quick clip here of just explaining how I did that weekend. It was a pretty good weekend for me. I cleaned up the bake stand, and I did pretty well. I had 3 more packages of cookies, some crackers, and 1 box of muffins left. So I made about $120 this weekend, so that's pretty good, pretty typical. I really wish I've never sold out totally. I've had some weekends where I've had like 2 bags left, and this weekend was pretty close, but probably sold about 75%, but haven't quite hit that yet, so hopefully soon. So hopefully I'm not forgetting anything, but I think that's everything I wanted to share today of all the steps to starting your farm stand. If you have any questions, you can leave them down below. If you are a fellow farm stand owner, let me know. I would love to connect with you. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.